Classic survival horror. Yeah, one of my all-time favorite genres, to be honest. At this point, I've played a ton, and there's a lot I can recommend, including this one. This is Ground Zero. Don't go away. Alright, listen. It's survival horror. You know what you're coming here for. Zombie-type enemies, tank controls, a good number of puzzles, the puzzle-like levels themselves, the many locked doors, and keys to find to go to those locked doors themselves. Throw in ammo conservation and the weirdly mixed feeling of peacefulness and high tension with your survival items. Well, you have one of my favorite genres of all time, but of course, every survival horror game has to have some sort of thing that makes it unique. And that aspect can literally be anything: presentation, sound, story, gameplay mechanics. To me, Ground Zero is a good survival horror game, and its unique capabilities come in 3 pillars.
Knocked him out of a fucking flashbang.
Oh shit! Number 1. For gameplay mechanics, this game features a critical shot. Now, crazy call out here. Resident Evil Outbreak, a game I've never played before, is the only other game I can think of that has some sort of a critical shot. You aim your weapon, you do like an extra double aim, and then you shoot, and it's a critical shot featuring more damage. Now, in Ground Zero, you do this, but it comes with a QTE. And this is my favorite addition to any survival horror game I've seen. It introduces the concept of, well, I can kill this guy in one shot, one critical shot, versus using like an extra 3 or 4 bolts on him. So I will purposely put myself in dookie situations to try and hit the critical. And you know, if you miss, well, you're kind of screwed. And also, if you do miss and you don't hit a critical and it counts as a normal shot, when an enemy gets hit in this game, they like speed up. So you're really trying to run that line of hitting the critical.
Hell nah, I hear so many guys. Fuck. I don't see the hit. Oh, dead. Nice dog.
The only really downside I will say is that this breaks ammo count pretty considerably, that I'll talk about at the end of this game, about how this is probably the easiest survival horror I've played, at least on normal mode. I should have definitely played on hard. But the critical shots always count for a one-shot, headshot, boom, death shot. I don't know, what do you want to call it? The problem is, that works with every gun, including the machine guns, which can house up to like 50 or 60 bullets, and obviously you have more machine gun ammo than pistol ammo or anything else. So, but if a critical shot across the entire board is a one shot between pistols, shotguns, so on, well, that just makes the 50 or 60 magazine a gun potentially capable of killing 50 to 60 enemies if you always hit your critical shots. So if you are like me, good at hitting these critical shots, and you can really save ammo in this game. The second main unique pillar about this game that I really enjoyed, and again, this resembles a spin-off Resident Evil mechanic. Resident Evil Revelations, famously one of my favorite Resident Evils, a very underrated game, has a mechanic that I loved where you can scan dead enemies for rewards. That's exactly what you do here, except this time the reward is in the game's currency called genome points. Collect genome points from dead enemies and spend them in the shop for ammo, guns, health, standard stuff like that. The reason why I think this works really well is because you're incentivized to kill more enemies to get more genome points, but also you're incentivized with what weapon you use. Using a shotgun or anything high caliber like will result in a poor genome scan, resulting in less points. Killing an enemy with a knife or a melee attack, that results in a perfect scan, the most possible points you can do, while using just basic caliber weapons like your pistol will result in good or average scans.
See, that's a good shot. So is this. I'm ass. I'm back. Yo, I hear another dude, man.
Now, the third and last unique pillar I think this game offers in terms of its survival horrorness is the fact that its setting is really cool. South Korea. Now, honestly, this blew me away. Now, the studio behind Ground Zero is Malformation Games. You'll be shocked to hear that they're based in Stockholm, Sweden. At least I was shocked because they did South Korea so good. I literally believed, wow, this dev team has to be from South Korea. Everything about this game's layout and level design is so fun. Now, I've never been to South Korea, so I'm not going to point out here and there accurate or not, but I really thought that the South Korean level design here was really fun. But that brings a question though, and this will transition to the story. Why are we in South Korea? Kind of a crazy spot. Well, the reason why it being is, well, a meteor has struck down in South Korea and a Formaldehyde virus has broken out and people are turning into zombie-like things. The classic survival horror thing that everybody knows and loves. With, of course, the little spin that a meteor is the reason why this comes in. And the story itself, I will say, for a classic survival horror game, kind of impressed me. It actually impressed me to the point where I actually really want a sequel done with these specific characters coming back. Like, I want to continue their story, which is something I absolutely was not, like, ready to, like, come into the game saying, yeah, I'm going to come out of this game saying, wow, the story was really good. I think the thing that helps it the most is that the voice acting is fantastic, but also the pacing of which it tells its story.
There's a black box in the tower that holds the meteorological data for the past 2 months. Air quality, toxicity levels, radiation. It should give HQ...
You primarily play as a young South Korean woman who is bilingual between, well, Korean and English, and Evan, who comes in from Canada.
Did your government brief you on any potential anomalies?
They haven't told me shit. Take this gun, fly to Korea, don't ask questions, good luck, Godspeed. That's just how Canada rolls.
You two are dispatched into South Korea to get to the bottom of this meteor, get to ground zero. And I think the splices between walkie-talkie calls and between long level designs, like you're going through like the police station or the zoo or something, and then you go into longer type cutscenes where you get more character fleshed out. I just think that the pacing of this game was actually really well done for its story.
They're still sealed. They're probably less contaminated than we are. Huh. What does this one say?
Spicy.
And this one?
Extra spicy.
Well then, which one do you want?
I'll take extra spicy.
If you think you can handle it.
I'm more worried that you couldn't.
Presentation. In this game's description, on the PlayStation Store at least, it said one thing in there that really caught my attention. Pre-rendered backgrounds. Yes, in the olden days of survival horror classics, there were such things as 2D backgrounds with 3D characters. You're essentially running around in a 2D plane, but because of the way eyes and dimensions work, it looks like you're running around a 3D area. It's a certain look that literally just looks fantastic. One of the reasons being is because, well, you know how much work it went into to create a 2D rendered background for every angle in this game. Think about how many different camera angles, which, by the way, another huge plus. Fixed camera angles here, yes, that's awesome. Everybody loves that. My literal only problem with this, and this is gonna sound so picky, at least in my mind it does. I think the characters pop off screen, like brightness or contrast wise, too much. You know, if I look at other like pre-rendered background games like Resident Evil 1 Remake or something, the characters look like they belong there. And in a lot of shots here in Ground Zero, it looks like the character is off screen a little bit. Other than that, for presentation, this game sounds great sound effect wise. The menu system I was a huge fan of. I already said I love the voice acting. It's part of the reason why the two main characters have great chemistry between each other. But also the enemy types. The enemy types in this game are very fun and memorable in my opinion.
What the fuck are these? Hell no!
And the enemy types don't stop coming there because there's some really fun ones.
After. Fuck! Whoa, buddy! Oh, I'm fucked. Hell no! I am not fighting this thing. Nope. Whoa! Okay, yo. Get the fuck out of here.
Soundtracks, though? Yeah, this is like the category that I think Ground Zero just doesn't reach like other games have. Ground Zero to me has 2 or 3 great soundtracks that I could put on my soundtrack playlist, right? And a year from now, let's say 1 year from now, if I'm playing this game, I will remember the 2 or 3. But the rest, it's just kind of background noise. And that kind of sucks because for survival horror classic games, music is a huge part of that. And I understand that Malformation Games, this is their first game. Yeah, okay, you guys want to know how small Malformation Games is? This is their first game. They're a team of, according to Google, 8 people, plus or minus a couple. And their actual YouTube channel has like 340 subscribers. Their trailer review has like under 2K views for the release trailer. To me, for how good this game is, that is an absolute crime. But that's just to showcase how small of a team this is. So maybe me requesting a huge amount of soundtracks is a little unrealistic. But again, I can't judge a game based off of, well, you guys had this many versus that. I just judge a game based off of what I play. And to me, the soundtracks were a couple really good ones, and the rest was kind of background noise. Overall impact, there is one last thing I've yet to mention that I think is kind of huge. And actually, you know what? Thinking about it right here, right now, I think it does the best job of this specific thing than any other survival horror classic that I've played. That thing is replayability. I can't lie, I'm not going to delete this game off of my PlayStation menu because I'm going to replay it. Just not right now, due to the fact that the amount of releases going on right now is absolutely apocalyptic. But at some point in the future, I am 100% going back to play this game. Why? I feel like I've only experienced half the game. What am I saying? Why would I say that? Well, the reason being is there are multiple choices in this game, right from the very start.
You take your pick.
Wait, choose your path? Oh, interesting. Beach or amusement park?
Yes, there are like 3 or 4 instances in this game where you can choose A or B. And it's literally not like A or B 15-minute, 20-minute level. It is huge levels. Like, there was a choice where I could go to the police station or the hospital. The police station was like 2.5 hours. Like, for such a small team, it's so impressive that they created a situation in which you create optional choices of A or B, knowing that the player will not experience one, but you put as much effort into both areas as humanly possible, even knowing you're missing one. Like, I never went into the hospital. That to me is one of the many reasons why replayability in this game is absolutely fantastic, because I can literally go back, make all the opposite choices, and play through 75% of a game that I never touched.
And melt the thing. Your call.
Another one. No way. So I can go through the hospital or I can go through the police station. Oh man. This is actually really close. Man. I feel like
add into that, there's costumes to unlock. There was some new guns to unlock. There's also such thing as mercenaries mode, or I believe in this game, I think it's called like Apocalypse Crisis or something. It's mercenaries. It's actually specifically Resident Evil 3 mercenaries. Due to the apocalyptic game schedule going on right now, I genuinely only played like 2 or 3 matches of this last night before I saved off. It was really late, so I can't say a huge amount about this bonus mode, but I can say it is fun. It reminds me of R3 Mercenaries, and there's just, this is many reasons why I'm not deleting this game off of my PlayStation game, my PlayStation. Like, I'm coming back to play this game, guys. But it's not all sunshines and rainbows. I can't end it off with just that. No, there are some negatives to this game. Of course, I'm not here to sugarcoat everything. Very quickly, I'll name off the weapon upgrades are dookie. Other than the fire compensator, which was you light enemies on fire, the suppressor, in my opinion, is super dookie. Lower damage for increased penetration. I genuinely don't think I'd ever see a position in using that. And the scope is said to increase your critical shot hits. But here's the thing. The auto aim in this game, like all the survival horrors, is insane. You aim down sight and you auto locate the nearest enemy. When you put the scope on, you're in first person and you don't auto aim. So you have to manually aim at their head, then like use claw grip style on your controller to click X and then hit the QT. Yeah, no, I didn't put the scope on unless I'm fighting the real life enemies. Which brings me into my next fact. The real life enemies are a conversation here because it's one of the only times in this game I genuinely felt like I had to be on my tippy toes. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not the biggest thing, but this is the easiest survival horror classic game I've ever played. I had a boatload of ammo stocked in my safe. I counted 22 heliums at one point. I did play on normal. I should have absolutely played on hard. If you've played survival horror before, play on hard. It just does take away a little bit of that tension where you are trying to conserve ammo and you're really trying to avoid enemies. And it really wasn't until I started finding the human enemies that were turning guns against me that I was like, oh, you enter a room and you hear one, it's like, wow, I can really hear my heartbeat right now.
You guys are legit scary. That thing pops a fucking Las Placas that I'm popping a flashbang, bro.
And last but not least, I have to say the map. In future installments, please let me go to the map, which it's a good map, but I need to see different floors. When you open the map in this game, you can see the floor that you're on, you can see the whole layout, but if you want to go up or down a floor, you have to go to that floor to see the map. It makes exploring a little more ticky-tacky, but not that crazy. Overall, Ground Zero is a game that is fantastic in my opinion. I had so much fun playing this game. I just love survival horror games. I 100% recommend this game. If you haven't played survival horror, I recommend. If you have played survival horror, I definitely recommend. You do not want to miss out on this game. While I don't think it reaches the absolute heights of games that inspired the devs to make this game, or other sort of survival horror games that are out there currently, I do think that you would really be missing out if you missed out on Ground Zero. If you're a survival horror fan, you can't miss this one, man. It's good. It's good. Trust me, it's good. But overall, in terms of numbers, Ground Zero gets an 8.2 out of 10. So that's it. I gotta be honest. Everybody here who watched my last review saw me say this. Next up, Beast of Reincarnation.
It was all a lie.
Well, literally the next day, Best Buy delayed my pre-order by 8 days. But it's here. Beast of Reincarnation. The reviews are very interesting out there. People love it, people hate it. People think it's mid. Some say it's average. Well, there's only one way to find out. So stay tuned for Beast of Reincarnation coming up at some point. One of my highly anticipated games of the year. Very exciting. But for now, I'm your host, Beneath the Mask. I'll be this review. Peace out.
What is that, dog? Fuck that.
I know you're here to find out the Easter egg soundtrack that I put in at the end of every video, but did you know that I have a Buy Me a Coffee page? A page where you can donate to your favorite YouTube creator. Half of the money that's donated to that page is personally donated back to Child's Play Charity, a charity that's dedicated to supplying games and technology to children in hospitals around the world. So that's that. Did you guess the soundtrack?